It's Nikki. I wanted to share a real life experience with you today, something that is going on in my head at the moment, and I thought it might be useful to share it. So, as you know, if you followed for a while or you listen to the podcast, watch my videos, I committed in April to 6 months of hot yoga. And I've gone consistently, probably 3 or 4 times a week. Some weeks, 5 or 6, some weeks, 2 or 3. On average, 3 or 4 times a week. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing for the commitment to myself of actually doing something. And I know this from my own patterns of behavior. I am much better when I say, for the next 6 months, I am focusing on this. If I have a goal, if I have a routine, if I can track my progress, all of those things really help me to make big moves. When people say in the next 5 years, I want to do these 27 different things, I find that my brain can't process it, and I'm thinking about all the different things and I'm not really doing any of them. I'm just kind of dipping my toe into each, and even then I'm not doing that particularly well. So I committed to this for 6 months. I am now at a point where I am about to renew my contract. And I am about to renew my contract at a time where our world feels very different to how it did in April. Everything that we read, it's about costs, it's about money, it's about increases, it's feels scarce sometimes. Everywhere you look, there's a small business closing down, etc. And I have really been umming and ahhing as to what I do next. And the logical part of me in my head, and I want to differentiate that very, very clearly. The logical, practical, sensible version of me wants to say, well, I've done my 6 months and it's very costly. Like, I go into this moment, very costly to do this thing every month. It's 125 quid, for context, just to give you the figure so you know what I'm talking about. You've really got to go, Nikki. And maybe you could do like a cheaper version. Maybe you could do an online thing. Maybe you could get a lower package so you only go like 3 or 4 times a month instead of 3 or 4 times a week. I went into all of that solution. Like, let's see if we can do a neater version of this. And then I listened to the other part of myself. The part of myself that is saying, what does your future self require of you? How much progress have you made? What else could be possible for you? Imagine what would happen if you not only completed this 6 months, but where would you be 6 months from now? So what if you did a whole year of doing this in the way that you're doing? And that was a different conversation. Because suddenly, when I had that conversation with myself, I started to ask different questions and require different answers. And it also made me look at my progress and my process of, I'm not going to do online things. I'm not going to do online things consistently, because what I need from my yoga practice is, and what I love about it, is that complete switch off. I love going to a hot room where nobody needs anything from you. You literally I put my phone, it's 5 minutes away from my house. I put my phone, my keys in a locker. I go in, I put my mat out, and I do the class and I leave. Brilliant. It's done. I know that if I do yoga at home, I'm going to have a child on the mat with me. I'm going to set myself up for a half an hour class, and I'm probably only going to be able to do 12 minutes of it, because that's what happens where I'm at home. Maybe I should have better boundaries, but I don't. This is the age and stage that we're in. I know for it to make it work, I need to do that. Also, I want to be really strong. My goal of who I want to become has never changed. My goal is that I want to continue being strong, being vibrant, being healthy, being flexible, feeling that I've got some core strength, feeling that I am centered, grounded, all of those sorts of things. So the reason that I'm using this as an example is that both of our sides of our brain are there and available for us to be in the conversation. And so often we simply have the conversation with one side of that. The side of our brain which is practical, logical, budget friendly, cautious, maybe looks good to other people, or the rules within that are set by people who do a certain thing. And we forget about the other side. We forget about the other side of ourselves that taps more into who we are as a person, what we desire, what we are working towards, a different vibration, a different capacity, a fuller, bigger, brighter version of ourselves. And we forget about that version because it's maybe not as apparent to us. It's maybe not as obvious. And that requires some trust, spending time with that person, spending some time visioning, daring to dream bigger and brighter, and not being in a state where so often in life we are capped. And whether we know that or realize that, or we do it consciously or unconsciously, there are so many times in life where maybe you said it yourself, it can't get any better than this, or I'm just grateful for what I have, or I've really excelled in one area of my life, so who am I to expect that I can do something else? But what we forget sometimes is if we listen to that other side of the conversation, the future self, I know that this is going to be amazing, even though it might involve some work or some tweaking or making sure that the money is free flowing and that it's still possible. It allows you to play around with being in the benefit of that. I know that if I continue looking after my health, it's going to affect every area of my life in a positive way. And I don't know about you, but certainly when I got to 40, suddenly all I heard was about ill health or menopause or all of the things. And I turned 40 when we were very much in the pandemic. And I don't want to be ill. I don't want to die young. I want to be healthy and vibrant and ready. And I know that if I look after my mental health and my bodily health, bodily functions, it's going to change my life. So my question for you today is, what do you want? What decisions are you grappling with? What are you in conversation with? And what conversations are you having? Are you staying in the practical, in the cautious, in the maybe or the I'm not sure? Or are you spending some time thinking about what the benefits could be, what the possibilities could be if you do that thing? What other doors are going to be opened? And I'm not saying here to put yourself in a position where you can't put food on the table or you can't travel on a bus or whatever it might be. But I am inviting you to think bigger and think in a different way. And sometimes the thing that you're doing right now, it may not be the right time, but at least have the conversations, the two conversations at the same time with yourself, and see what comes up and really feel into it. This could be something you could talk through with a friend. This could be something you take on a walk, or maybe you grab your phone and you talk into it like a voice note. Sometimes I do that when I'm going through that process. Or maybe this is about you booking a session. And I do small plates and big plates and long-term things and short-term things. Book a declare and share session with me. And let's thrash out this thing. Because do you know what? it's probably not going to go away. This thing that you want, this next chapter, this version of yourself that you know is possible, you know it's still going to be there regardless. And so you can either do something about it, or you can let it fester and irritate you almost like a wasp. And I had this when we moved into this house. So we moved into this house in March, and it took me a month to actually go and sign up for the yoga thing. And do you know what happened? I did it because I was so frustrated with seeing the yoga studio the whole time, seeing people going in, seeing people coming out with a big smile on their face. And because I'd been before, I knew it was great. I knew that it worked. And I got frustrated. I got angry with my own frustration of like, oh, why am I not doing the thing? I need to do the thing. So lots to think about today. As always, whatever you can do to get that information out of your head, to play around with it, a pen, a paper, some exercise, a friend, book a declare and share session with me. I would love, love, love to hear. Yeah, so much to think about. I'm going to sign up for another 6 months. I know it'll be good. I want to be bendier, and it's working. So I'm going to do it. Makes me feel good. And yeah, let's see what happens. Lots of love.